It has been a difficult season for Celtic so far. They've had some poor performances on the pitch, but they've also had some poor performances off the pitch, and that continues today as Celtic Football Club abandon their AGM because of sack the board chants. Welcome back, guys, to Fog Football, and what an absolute mess this is. It's been reported that Celtic have just brought an abrupt end to their annual AGM due to certain shareholders jeering director Ross Desmond, and also because they were chanting sack the board. So when is the AGM going to happen? When is it going to be rescheduled? That I do not know, but it has been reported by multiple news outlets, pretty much every news outlet, that the AGM as of right now has been abandoned by Celtic Football Club. So I'm just going to read through one of these reports here and we'll dive into this. So yeah, this is what it says. Celtic's annual meeting has been abandoned after shareholders jeered when director Ross Desmond accused some fans of being bullies. The meeting at Celtic Park had earlier been adjourned for half an hour by Chairman Peter Loyal, less than 5 minutes after it started, following chants of "sack the board" by some shareholders. But it was ultimately called to a halt an hour because of disruption, as Desmond read out a statement on behalf of himself and his father, Dermot, the club's largest shareholder, who did not attend. In a statement on their website shortly afterwards, the Scottish Premiership club said, quote, "Such conduct is completely unacceptable and hugely disappointing. And while today's events are completely out with our control, clearly, we regret the impact on our shareholders who were deprived of the opportunity to take part in an orderly and constructive meeting." End of quote. So what an absolute mess this is. Couldn't even get through the AGM without having to basically bring it to a halt and pretty much cancel it. I'm assuming it will be rescheduled for another time. When that time is, I do not know. The article also goes on to say Celtic's board has been under major criticism from supporter groups over the Scottish champions' summer transfer business and failure to qualify for the Champions League, while they currently trail surprise domestic league leaders Hearts by 7 points. Friday's meeting was held amid the backdrop of a continued search for a new permanent team manager after Brendan Rodgers resigning last month, and former boss Martin O'Neill was appointed caretaker. Desmond began his statement by defending his father, a lifelong and passionate Celtic supporter, and vowed that the board would not be bullied by aggressive and irrational criticism. So, yeah, definitely accusing the fans, basically, of being bullies and being irrational. The Irishman also defended Loyal and Chief Executive Michael Nicholson and claimed attempts to dehumanise and vilify them are shameful. Both boards in Glasgow right now, both Celtic and Rangers, a lot of individuals on these boards just are not liked by a large majority section of the fan base. Desmond went on to criticise a section of fans over a recent incident that led to the Green Brigade Ultras group being banned, and added, "Those people are bullies." So yeah, we have Peter Loyal calling people bullies. We have Dermot Desmond calling people bullies. The Green Brigade here getting called bullies pretty much. Directors had been met with boos and dozens of red cards from shareholders as they entered the packed Kerrydale suite, with other fans watching via video link from another function suite. Cries of "out, out, out" followed before there were cheers for O'Neill when the interim manager was introduced. So basically O'Neill here, the only guy that is getting any sort of praise, the only guy that is avoiding criticism and avoiding jeers and avoiding the heckling. So yeah, there was more chants and shouts of sack the board from shareholders. Loyal said this disruptive behaviour is not on. It's got to stop. We have to have respect for everyone else in the room. At this point, Loyal called for a 30-minute adjournment, and there was shouts of "you need to respect us" from some shareholders / fans. When the meeting resumed, dozens of fans walked out as a series of videos were played on the big screens, while Loyal, Nicholson and Chief Finance Officer Chris Mackay defended the board's record. What a mess. What an absolute mess. Yeah, basically that was it really. So they kind of just brought an end to the meeting because nothing was going to happen. It was just being disrupted, and it was just booing, jeering, lots of criticism. In the words of Peter Loyal and in the words of Desmond, bullies. Celtic fans bullying them at this AGM, and that led to them pretty much just closing the door and saying, "Not today, folks. We're gonna call it a day, and we're gonna end it right there." What an absolute mess! What an absolute mess! The fact that they just could not get through this meeting, that is crazy. Chairman Peter Loyal called a poll on the resolutions at the end of the meeting, the results of which will be made available once counted and verified by Registrar Computershare. So, yeah, when's this going to happen then? Is it going to happen, or probably not? I don't know if it will be rescheduled or not, but what an absolute mess. What a mess here from Celtic Football Club. And when things are this bad, when the board are this hated, and when the board are just no longer wanted, and they seem to be detested by at least a decent amount of fans, is there any way back for this board? Can this board continue? I mean, I'm sure they will. I doubt they're going to walk away. They're not going to just pack their bags and leave. But, I mean, long term, can this board still be at Celtic, and can they be successfully and peacefully still at Celtic and coexist at Celtic with the fans and with the shareholders when there's this much bad blood between, both sides? I'm not too sure. I think their days could be numbered. They're not just going to walk away, but I mean, I could maybe see Desmond selling his shares, although he's had them for a very long fucking time, so who knows. But it looks like there is a change needed. This is not good for the club going forward. And at the end of the day, the fans ain't going to go anywhere. We always hear that it's easier to replace a manager than it is to replace a squad of players, and that's true, but here, it's also easier to replace a few board members than it is to replace an entire group of fans, and at the moment, it seems to be close enough to the entire group of Celtic fans that want this board gone. So, yeah, I don't think the future looks good for Celtic and the Celtic board. I mean, listen, they could still salvage this season. They could have a good transfer window in January. They could still qualify for the next round of the Europa League. They could still go on and win a domestic treble. I mean, it is possible. I mean, they could still have success on the pitch, but off the pitch, this club is in a bit of a shambles. So, yeah, anyway, guys, that's it. Let me know your thoughts down below. The AGM comes to an end, and, yeah, Celtic fans not happy with the board. They want the board out. The board not really happy with Celtic fans either, calling them bullies, calling them not calling them nice names anyway, that is for sure, accusing them of being intimidating and all this stuff. Not good. Anyway, guys, that's it. Leave a like, leave a comment. I'll catch you in the next one. Until then, yeah, peace.